I think we need to give the government credit and the cabinet credit for coming down here, having a cabinet session down here. I think the outside view of Donbass and the outside view of Mariupol, it's not a secure place to come. And actually, we've seen it is. It's challenging to get here. Definitely, there's a new road that definitely helps. There needs to be more investment in infrastructure to make it easy to get here. But there's the city's a nice city. People are friendly. I think it's got the port's a good port, potential for tourism. I think we give the authorities and the government credit for coming out of Kiev. There's too many conferences in Kiev anyway, and I think people appreciate going out of the capital to the regions to see what else there is in Ukraine.
But what exactly is expected? For instance, there are other talks about the land reform, and now it's already not really the talks. When and what is, first of all, expected by the investors from the government at this stage, and what would be the signs that things are moving?
Look, I think Zelenskyy has a fantastic chance to do transformational reform in this country. You have a president who has a big majority in parliament, is very popular. He's got a good team of technocrats in the cabinet. He's got strong support from international financial institutions. There's been a lot of the previous government, if you think of the Poroshenko administration, did some good things in terms of macro stability. So, inflation's low, currency's stable, central bank has good reserves, the banking sector has been stabilized. The basics for investment are there. It's now about making some key decisions to open the country up to investment. Zelenskyy did say today that it's about rule of law, business environment, level playing field, all those. He said all the right kind of things. I think the first challenge, the key challenge, is Privatbank. There is a legal challenge to the nationalization. Clearly, there is efforts by the former owners to take ownership back. The future of Privatbank, and I think any move against the nationalization would be a huge risk to macro financial stability in Ukraine. The nationalization happened. I think there was a very good reason to nationalize the bank back in 2016. There's a huge hole in its balance sheet. It posed a huge systemic risk to the whole country. The right decision was taken. That's the reality. If they hadn't have done what they've done, Ukraine wouldn't be in such a good position as it is now. But basically, the government needs to make a decision. What happens if the courts rule overturn the nationalization? What's Plan B? Actually, the gentleman from EBRD was very clear-cut in that, saying there needs to be a Plan B. And what about asset recovery? If the courts determine that there was some illegal activity involved in the original failure of the bank, the state suffered a huge loss as a result of it, $5.5 billion. At the time, it was more than 10% of, more than 5% of GDP of the country. Why should the state take such a big loss? And actually, it's not just Privatbank. If you think the banking failures between 2015 and 2016-17 cost about $15 billion. So it's, the state needs to go after the former owners of banks that, in the end, took money from depositors. There's no other way to describe it. I mean, the banks failed, depositors lost. It's the responsibility of the former bank owners, and the state, the government, has been left with a huge bill for that. Why should the Ukrainian taxpayer, be left with a huge bill of bank failures?